developer has quit. What could this mean for the future of SCR?
BanTech's gone, but is the game doomed, or is this just the start of a new era?
BanTech is resigning from the role of Innovation Director of SCR, as well as a goodbye letter from
Charlie. Now BanTech. Who's next on the list?
Yes, if you follow SCR on social media, you probably already know I quit my role. For those who don't know me though, I'm Adam, my username is BanTech, and I was in charge of developing a Roblox game called Stepford County Railway for the past 6 years. And no, the game's not dead, but if you're in the Discord, you'd be forgiven for thinking that based on the responses that inspired that intro. What a lot of you might not know, however, is how it all started. So, time for a brief history of BanTech and SCR. Now, I used to be known as Jelly134, and I experimented with various transport games. Roblox essentially was a physics sandbox back in 2008, and it was a great platform with untapped potential for that kind of game. I left in 2012 though, as moderation seemed to be getting worse by the day, essentially a game of false ban roulette for anyone who uploaded assets. And there wasn't anything like DevX back then either. You couldn't really make any money from Roblox. It was purely a hobby, so there wasn't too much to keep me around when moderation was getting worse. A few years later though, in Christmas Eve of 2015, I returned with a new account. I was in search for a free physics sandbox, and Roblox still fit that role quite well. When it came to picking a new name though, I've never been great at picking usernames, and I went with BanTech, which is based on Jelly134's old brand of wearing a bandana, combined with my love for technology. When placed together, it ironically implies the opposite. I reconnected with old friends to see if their interest had remained, and to potentially form some projects together. There were a few failed attempts, including a zombie game with zombies that could smell and hear you, and a medieval RuneScape-like game as well. A lot of people don't realise that my interests extend far beyond transportation if they only know me for SCR, but I like all kinds of systems and all kinds of engineering. By 2017, I started working on a brand, BanTech Systems, with the idea being I could create all sorts of different systems to power other people's games. Things like traffic lights, road kits, AI cars, NPCs, weapon systems, as well as non-physical things like saving and loading player data. All that went on pause though at the end of 2017. You see, one of the friends I'd kept in touch with had just launched his latest rail network game, Stepford County Railway. The game had several features that made it stand out, like a semi-automatic signalling system with a manual control mode, an announcement system that stitched sounds together, and platform screens. This was the first hint of what SCR might become, and what caught my eye was the potential. Not of how popular it might be or how much money it might make through DevX, but how fun it would be to design a full signalling system across a huge map. Here's how the conversations went. On the 29th of November 2017, I was asking a few questions about the signalling system, and Charlie told me the signals were basically just timers that weren't really aware of each other at all, easily broken by slow travelling trains as the signals would revert back towards green before it was actually clear. And at this point, SCR was already looking pretty promising, with 6,000 visits in just a few days, which was pretty good for a game like this. On the 3rd of December 2017, Charlie gave a smarter signalling system a try that would use physical blocks and touch detection to show red or yellow aspects based on presence, not timings. It was slow to implement, so only a few signals were upgraded as a trial. The network was shown to controllers as physical blocks on a wall, and I stated it was going to be a nightmare to try and keep that physical representation of the map going, and that it needed to be a GUI. Jokingly, we set that aside for version 2.0, but in reality, it came much sooner. Fast forward one more week to the 11th of December 2017, 16 days after the initial launch, and with university breaking up for Christmas, this was the chance to really look at how to improve the signals. I give some advice on how to manage an ever-expanding network of signals, and ultimately, I offered to give it a go. Within the span of 2 days of that initial network-wide signaling control script, the focus rapidly expanded, and we were prototyping new user interfaces to pick a role and spawn a train. It was pretty clear that the signaling help was just the beginning of something much larger. The vision for the game extended far beyond what we could achieve with just a tweak here and there. It needed a new foundation, something to set the tone for the future of the game, and that's how the big update, version 1.0.0, was born. A completely overhauled user interface, train physics and operations, a block-based signaling system, points and experience to unlock features, a scheduling system where routes generated departure times were just some of the features that were included. As someone quite inexperienced with railway operations, a big focus was making a game that satisfied rail enthusiasts and casual gamers at the same time, in a multiplayer experience. You can't find a game like this off Roblox, and on Roblox the few competitors that followed still struggled to cover all the features that SCR covers. To this day, the game still has blocky rails and 2D ballast because the dedication's been to the unique and novel experience of the rail network at large, and making that accessible to all rather than hyper-focusing on any specific areas or details. Plenty of games cover the latter. If you're interested in the rest of the details from the big update onwards, I highly recommend the Unofficial Wiki. I did want to point out a few key numbers though that truly defied our expectations. In August 2018, 4 months after releasing the big update, we hit 1 million visits. In October 2022, 4 years later, we hit 50 million visits. Over 50,000 people are in the official Discord server, over 400,000 are in the SCR Roblox group, and we have 375,000 monthly active users as of September 2023. A diverse community has grown around the game without us spending any money on advertisement or sponsorships on Roblox. Word of mouth proved far more powerful than anything we could have manufactured. The zero budget marketing strategy continues to be one of my favourite SCR facts. So what happened? Sounds like a dream project to work on, right? Well, a lot's changed in the past 6 years, and my motivation has been decreasing pretty steadily. I want to explore all my non-transport game ideas. After all, the railway was never my passion. It was the big complicated systems that helped to operate it, and I feel like I've solved a lot of the big stuff that I wanted to. The future of SCR is more of the detailed, enthusiast-specific functionality and improving visuals and map optimization, which is best left for people who have a passion in those areas. I also don't see the game as a hobby, and haven't done so for a while. It pays my bills, keeps the lights on, but I feel the pressure of a lot of those big numbers that I mentioned before. The last couple of years have been driven by not wanting to let down friends and not letting down hundreds of thousands of active players, rather than out of enjoyment for the project itself. But what I've come to realise is that I'm actually holding SCR back, and I'd be letting those people down by staying, not by leaving. So that's the end of my chapter with SCR, and it's just that, a chapter. There's plenty more story ahead for both of us, and I hope to just become another trivia point on the wiki that gets superseded by bigger and better updates to come. So what now? Well, the future of SCR has already been worked out with 2 new hires and a shift of responsibilities within the team to help make sure everyone's focused on their strengths. So the game's not dead, despite some dramatic responses on Discord. But BanTech, well, we've got a few things going on that I'd like to share. We're rebuilding The Lanes, a 10-pin bowling game, to add more features and turn it into a lot more than just bowling, so keep an eye out for that. We're also about to launch a plugin for RobloxDevs that will help a lot with selecting things in big workspaces. I'll release a video on that pretty soon, so again, keep an eye out for that. We've also got plans in the works for several more experiences and tools for years to come. To be a part of testing and helping give feedback on those projects, join our gilded server BanTech Metaverse, or just subscribe here with notifications, as most big updates will come with a video. All other social links are in the description, so if you have a favourite platform you want to follow us on, also check those out. Oh, and one last thing, I've got these 2 Roblox gift cards for £10 each. The first 2 people to correctly comment a list of all of the continuity changes between the different scenes of this video will get a message from me with the redeem code for these. See you next time.